Welcome to Able People Foundation. By the end of this lesson, you will have the basic knowledge about what to look for when selecting and purchasing a portable straight ramp for a wheelchair user. This lesson has been prepared through American with Disabilities Act, ADA, accessibility guidelines for buildings and facilities including ramps. You can view the full guidelines at indicated link. A copy of this lesson will be available for download at www.ablepeoplefoundation.org. Section A 4.8.1 states in general the needs for ramps. Section A 4.8.2 of the guidelines talks about slope and rise. It states that ramp slopes between 116 and 120 are preferred and safer than slopes of 112. But what does 112 or 116 or 120 mean? Let's first understand what rise means. The rise of a stair is the vertical distance between the steps. See, this is the rise. Easily, you could measure the vertical distance of the first step from top to the bottom. Then 112 or 116 or 120 simply means for 1 inch rise. The ramp should be 12 inches or 16 inches or 20 inches long. And do not forget that 12 inches equals 1 foot. Section 4.8.3 addresses minimum clear width for single wheelchair. Looking at the figure from ADA guidelines, the minimum clear passage width for a wheelchair should be 36 inches or 915 millimeters, minimum length, along an accessible route, but may be reduced to 32 inches or 815 millimeter minimum at a point for a maximum depth of 24 inches or 610 millimeter, such as in a doorway. Section 4.8.5 talks about handrails. If a ramp run has a rise, you remember what a rise was, right? Okay, good. Now if a ramp has a rise higher than 6 inches or 150 millimeters, or a horizontal projection greater than 72 inches or 1830 millimeter, then it shall have handrails on both sides. The use of handrails should be taken into consideration for private homes, especially when ramps are built for ambulatory persons who need extra assistance with balance. Section 4.8.4 explains about landings for ramps. Ramps should have level landings at bottom and top of each ramp in each ramp run. A ramp landing that is not level causes individuals using wheelchairs to tip backwards or bottom out when the ramp is approached. See on this picture here, the landing is not level. It looks like a small step. When a wheelchair user reaches this point, it will suddenly drop and increase the possibility of falling off the wheelchair. But you do not see this on this picture because the landing area is level. There are other facts to consider when getting a ramp. First, to make sure that the ramp has edge protection. Look at these two pictures here. Wheelchair ramps must have a raised edge on the side to keep people in a wheelchair from falling off. Different users will require different heights, but by all means, make sure that the wheelchair ramp has a good sized edge protector. Other facts are locking mechanism and weight capacity. There should be a simple to use locking mechanism to prevent the ramp from moving or falling off the steps when in use. Weight capacity. Some ramps are designed for manual wheelchairs, some for electric wheelchairs, some for unoccupied wheelchairs, and others for occupied. Be sure to check the weight specification of the ramp to make sure that you are covered. Sometimes people buy wheelchair ramps only to find that they were not designed for wheelchairs with passengers. Wheelchair ramps must have surface traction to prevent sliding off the ramp and injuring the wheelchair user, especially during wet weather or when the wheels of the wheelchair are wet. When you want to see how long a ramp is, you need first measure the rise and then consider upper body strength of the wheelchair user, and then calculate 112, 116, or 120 slopes for the ramp length. For 1 inch rise, you need 12 inches or 16 inches or 20 inches for the ramp length. Example: if the rise is 3 inches and you feel it will be safe for the wheelchair user to go with 116 slope, then you need 3 times 16, which equals 48 inches in length, or 48 inches divided by 12 equals 4 feet long, because 12 inches equals 1 foot. Please remember that most ambulatory people and most people who use wheelchairs can manage a slope of 116. Many people cannot manage a slope of 112 for 30 feet or 9 millimeter. And according to ADA guidelines, the rise should not exceed 30 inches for using a ramp. If it exceeds 30 inches, you may need to consider installing a lift, not a ramp. And finally, do not forget the importance of surface traction and landing area when selecting any wheelchair ramp. Thank you for watching, and always be safe.